Bonjour, welcome to the Members Club, the monthly video series, and today we're going to be discussing pricing, margins, and financials. It's going to be your way to set up and scale up the project in a professional way. My name is Thierry Bayle. I'm the founder of Global Fashion Management and the London Fashion Business Academy. Today, pricing is absolutely key. Tom Ford was asking whether you're trying to build a hobby, often an expensive one, by the way, or an artistic business. If it's a hobby, then you can manage the pricing and the margin as you like. Hopefully, it will last long. But if you want to build a business, then you need to find clients, and you therefore need to have an acceptable selling price and a reasonable cost to make enough margins to pay for the expenses. So, pricing is key because it determines the brand positioning, from value market to luxury. It determines also the size of the market. The higher the price point, the less customers you're going to get. It also determines the margins you will take and those involved in the sales distribution channels, whether it could be a distributor, for example, or an independent boutique department store. So it's also going to show whether you have a good handle of financial matters. By the way, you don't need to be a finance person or an accountant. I share trained designers all the time, and they can learn the basic 101 and it works. So, but look at what is happening in Dragon's Den or equivalent programs. You will see that the questions about margins are important. You can't ignore them, and you can get the investor to run away. They're the equivalent of the foundations of a house or the bones in your body. You cannot grow without them. And I remember very well a lady who approached me, and she was only adding 30% to her cost. Well, and she was telling me, Thierry, I'm making money, but you're not building a business, and you are not able to scale it up. Not even a distributor today would just add 30% on his cost. So having the wrong pricing is like flying a plane with half the fuel you need to reach the destination. You will crash. I don't want that, and you don't want that. So what could be the calculation process for you to successfully move forward? There could be two ways, to look into it. You could go from bottom to top, meaning you go from your cost to wholesale to retail, or you could go from top to bottom. You go from retail to wholesale to cost. So which one do you see? Which one should you use? Well, definitely you want to focus really on what the customer wants to pay, because ultimately the customer will determine whether your dress, your knit, your accessories are worth the price you want to give. And therefore that should be the key element. Even if it means that when you reach the cost element based on the right margins, you realize that you need to ask a special favor, or you need the manufacturer, the factory, to do some efforts to bring the cost down. So make sure you focus as a priority to find the right price based on the customer's viewpoint. And of course, compare like to like. So see among your competition who's got similar products, which allows you to position the price at that level. And feel free to ask the help of other people, whether us, but also your friends, other designers, and also other people, stakeholders in the industry, from agents to trade buyers. Make sure you do not underprice your goods just because you feel, well, Thierry, I'm a small business. I'm young. I'm a startup. No, if you're telling me on the one hand that your goods are coming out from the same factory as Louis Vuitton, and then you are positioning yourself, because I see it, 30% less, 50% less, lower than Louis Vuitton, then where is the logic? So, and you want to make sure as well that you align your price on the long-term strategy for the brand, meaning you can go from cost to retail directly because you're not going to be using a store, an independent boutique, to sell your goods. However, if you know that within 6 to 12 months you will be selling at wholesale, you need to plan the margins today, because if you plan them in 6 or 12 months, you have a big risk of losing your customers of today. So make sure you align what you do today to what you want to do in the future. And when you're going to be determining the price, the retail price, make sure you really have a feel and touch of the product, because I have seen designers looking at identifying the right price for their goods based on images. And as you know, images are great, but today when you look at Victoria's Secret and when you look at a lot of the lingerie underwear brands, their imagery can be superb, but their price point could be really value market or medium range. So make sure you analyze it with the right tools, with the right critical thinking. And aligning your price on your long-term strategy is absolutely key. And I've seen some experts forgetting to ask that question to you, and therefore you losing your today's customer in that future strategy you're going to be having. Now, we've got costs, we've got wholesale, we've got retail. You want to make sure that you clearly identify two things: your costs, whether it's UK manufacturing or your costs from abroad, so that you are clear about what is your landed cost in the UK, because that is the starting point where you need to apply a margin. Because ideally, in the medium to top end of the fashion industry, you want to multiply your cost by 2, but from a landed cost to wholesale. And then for wholesale to retail, as you know, including that, the retailer is going to be willing to take a 2.5 to 2.8 markup, potentially 3 if in accessories, and if you're more in the high-end luxury market. So you need to have those numbers extremely clear in your head, and they have to work. Just don't forget that we're working out the landed cost in the UK, because otherwise, when you're going to be adding duty and freight from your outside the UK destination to the UK, you could be taking easily 10-20%, and you need that margin to pay for all your expenses. Now, what you want to make sure as well is that you have enough financial documents to help you build the brand long term. So, documents like, apart from a business plan, of course, the break-even analysis really helps you to understand how much money you need to make based on the expenses you have or you're planning. And the cash flow, make sure that you're going to be targeting enough sales in those maybe weak months where you're not making enough money. Now, I act as retail and brand expert for Who's Next. At the show last time, I was, walking through the aisles at lunchtime, speaking to a UK brand. And basically, he didn't know about the margin the retailer would take. What he was proposing to give the retailer was way below, by over 30%, what the retailer would expect. I told him, you're not going to take an order. He hadn't taken an order by the 4th day. I followed up with him after the show. No orders were placed, but that's normal. And that mistake can be avoided in just 5 minutes. So make sure you've got all the relevant information before you make those really important decisions. Now, you want to potentially choose the right business model. And some people today may recommend wholesale, others retail, brick and mortar, and maybe others will say, no, you've got to go and move forward with online. After over 25 years in the business of fashion, working every week with retailers and brands, I'm less concerned about whether you're going to go wholesale, retail, or online. What I am concerned about is your ability to deliver the plan and have a clear execution skills and expertise to make it happen. So today's success is not about what you know, it's about what you don't know. And your success is determined by the quality of your execution. So build up an online business, build up a wholesale business or brick and mortar, but just make sure and understand that whatever you take, whichever you choose, you will need specific human and financial resources. If you have them, you'll be able to build one of the three or all three professionally and profitably. But do not believe that one is actually easier than the other. And you've got many examples from people who just go wholesale or just go online and succeed this way. So, as a conclusion, what you want to understand is make sure you build the pricing from what the customer is telling you. Not to say that, a trade buyer or an agent, yourself, myself, cannot have irrelevant information to give you and to share. But the customer is going to tell you, I'm happy to pay for that product at £50 or £150 or £500. Always prefer the retail to cost route, because at least you make sure you depend on the customer's viewpoint. But the margins have to be maintained. So you may have to, of course, work with the factory, work with the supplier, work with your MOQ, your minimum order quantity, to make it happen. Build the financials to make sure you understand where you are and how to get to profitability as soon as possible. And of course, as you're going to be building stock, remember, we deal with perishable goods. So the last thing I recommend any of my clients is to make sure that you sit on your stock. The stock has to churn. Retailers want fresh goods. Customers who come to your website will want fresh goods on a regular basis, every 30 days or so. So find a way, whether it's in-house or whether it's going to be outside the business, but find a way to get rid of the goods and turn them quickly into cash. And never believe that a retailer will accept to buy your goods if you sacrifice, if you squeeze his margins. So what do you need to remember? Well, what you need to remember is if we fail to prepare, we're going to be preparing to fail. So have a plan, have a sounding board at all times. And I can promise you, you're going to be on your way to build a sustainable brand in a sustainable way. Thank you very much.